Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new video. So here's an interesting one for you. And I'm going to title this video, Synchrony Bank Credit Card Scam. Okay, so first off, we know that every credit card company has different names for their credit cards. Like I got a Capital One Platinum. I got a Prime MasterCard. I think it's a MasterCard. I have a Silver card. Every credit card company has a different name for their cards, right? So through Synchrony Bank, I have three. Two of them got zero balance. One's got a balance far below $1,000. I don't pay the minimum every month. I generally double whatever the minimum is. All right, I do that on any of the cards I have. So back around 4th of July, me and the wife were looking to get a new box spring and mattress, which we desperately need. So we went over. We looked at a couple of different places, and only one place I went to had a great deal on a box spring, a mattress, a new frame. I mean, this thing was comfortable as hell. And what we were going to pay because of the 4th of July sale was approximately half of what it was originally going to cost. So it was going to cost originally around $3,000. So we were looking at spending, I think it was $1,500 and change. Cool. Now I was originally going to get it through using a firm. I've used a firm many times in the past. I got like an $8,000 credit limit with the firm. But I chose not to go with them. The payments for an entire year would have been about $160 a month. It's not that I can't do it. I didn't want to spend $160 a month for 12 months. I kind of wanted to go like maybe 2 years, And, like in the past, I've actually paid things off a lot earlier than what it was scheduled for. So that's how I wanted to go with that route. Well, so what we did was, I'm not applying for no credit cards. Because I don't know if I get a credit card, the payments are going to be a lot less. As a matter of fact, one of my credit cards, I have a credit limit up to $2,000. It's my Amazon Prime. I believe my balance right now is around $1,900. Minimum payment $66. I generally pay, I think for $66, I'll pay like $75. And every month, of course, it goes down even quicker. You know the whole schmeal. So the wife's got one card. It's a Capital One. She's only got a couple $100 that she's used on it. No big deal. So we applied Synchrony. She got approved instantly. I was shocked. Balance is $3,100. I'm like, wow. So you got the option with some companies where you can have what they call, I think it's online credit card. So we chose that. We printed it up. We were going to take it back to the place where we were buying the new bed set. The guy says, unfortunately, we got to have a physical card. I'm like, oh, that's great. And I said, so there goes the deal on that box spring and mattress. All right, no big deal. We'll wait for the card to come in. We'll have to shop around and find something different or hold on to it. There's usually around a Labor Day sale or whatever. So, whatever. So it was kind of weird. 10 days after she got approved, she never received a card. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I said, it's never taken that long to get a card of any kind. Even though they say 5 to 10 business days. Well, looking at her account that we already set up for her, I noticed right off the bat, I said, oh, here's the problem. Somehow, they sent it to the wrong address. An address we haven't lived in about 4 years. And we did put down the correct address when we applied. So I called them. Well, actually, I didn't call them. I did the online chat. She was there because, they send a verification to her phone to make sure it's her and all this other stuff. And we told them what happened. They said, all right, no problem. So they canceled that one out. They sent out another one, 5 to 10 days. I said, okay, cool. Well, we got it in about 4 days. All right, cool. So I said, you know what? I said, my wife, being a woman, or just being a human being in general, does need new clothes. Now, we don't buy clothes every single year or twice a year like maybe some people do. We take good care of our clothes. We replace them when they're needed. So the wife needs new bras, new panties, sneakers, shoes for work because she wore hers out. Some new jeans and new tops or whatever. Cool. So I said, well, we'll wait another time or whatever to get a box spring and mattress. Maybe we'll just wait to tax time because we usually get a decent return. So we went over to the mall today. Went to Victoria's Secret, bought a bunch of stuff, slid the car, declined. I'm like, well, what's this all about? Slid the card, declined. I said, there's something wrong here. So I just took out my regular card for my checking account, got plenty of money in there. I went ahead and I paid for it. I didn't pay for everything that she wanted, but I got most of everything she wanted. Because what we were going to do is we're going to call the bank and find out what's going on here because this card is activated. The card is valid. Okay? So I paid for most of the stuff with the check, and she said the other stuff, just hold it for now. It was only a couple of tops and some perfume. I will say when I first opened up the card this morning, because we've had it, in our possession for about a week, it just didn't seem right because there's no chip on it like most modern day cards. It just said Synchrony Bank Sport. Like I said, every bank has a name for their cards, right? Now, here's where this gets more interesting. So as we left, we were going to head out to the car. I said, let me call this bank right now, find out what's going on. So I call them on my cell phone. Okay? Automated system. They kept on saying they did not receive any input that they wanted, like last four digits of your social security number, the number of your credit card, the security code, the whole schmeal. This went on for like 5-6 minutes, constantly inputting what it wanted. And I was getting so pissed. I told the wife, I'm about to take this fucking phone and throw it through this mall. That's how pissed off I was. Of course, I'm not going to do it, right? So then finally, it lets me talk to a customer service rep. I said, good. Now we can figure out what's going on here. Well, that didn't go too well because the woman claims she couldn't hear me. She heard nothing on my end of the phone. I even shut off the Bluetooth, put it on speaker, same thing, and she hung up the phone. That made me even more irate. And I said, there's something going on here. So we walked out the mall, went to the car. I figured, noise in the mall might be causing some interference, whatever. And it dawned on me after I talked to them on my wife's phone with my wife present that that's a security thing going on with them, which is actually smart. The person that owns that card is calling from a different number than what's listed on the account. So if that's a security feature, okay, applause to them. Good job. So we called them on our phone, went through all the information that the automated system wanted. It took everything. And then we got to speak to a rep. And of course, the representative wanted to verify with my wife that I can speak to her. Because I deal with all the finances in the house. And she said, yeah. And she asked me, how can I help you? I said, what is this sports card? I says, she's got a $3,100 credit limit. We activated the card. We came here today. We were going to purchase some stuff. We went to Victoria's Secret first. Got declined right off the bat. Why? Here's what I found out. Synchrony Bank Sport card means you can only buy sport-related items. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you serious? Did I hear this correctly? This could only be used to buy sport-related items. I says, we're not sports people. Yeah, we watch, some basketball, football, whatever. But we don't play sports. We don't need none of that stuff. I said to the lady, cancel that card right off the bat. And she goes, are you sure? I said, yeah. I says, we are not buying sport-related items. We don't need it. We thought it was just like any other credit card. It's a normal credit card with its own name, like so many other banks have. So the woman says, well, she goes, that's fine. She goes, we'll take care of that. She said, you can't just go up to the Synchrony Bank website and go ahead and apply for the MasterCard. I said, all right, fine. We'll take care of that later. So we hung up the phone. I was pissed. So we went back into the mall, went to the Nike store. I bought her a couple of brand new pairs of shoes for home and for work. Paid for that in cash. No big deal. Said, when we get home, we'll go apply. So we get home. About an hour later, I went upstairs and said, let's go ahead and apply for this thing online like they said. So we did. Here's the kick in the teeth. Unlike the sport card, she got approved just like that. Everything came up on the screen. When it shows up on the screen, you'll be receiving a letter in about 5 to 10 days explaining why. It didn't say anything about decline or whatever. I said to the wife, I said, you were declined. She goes, well, what do you mean? I said, they're going to send you a letter in 10 days explaining why. She's like, did they do that with this first card that I got? I said, no. I said, you got approved right on the spot. I said, any credit card that I have, that I applied for, okay? I said, I got approved right on the spot, and it said so. So out of 6 cards, I only got 3 that got any type of balance on them, and they're not very large. 3 other ones, there's nothing on them, and that's how I like to keep it. I said, yeah. I said, what a fucking scam that is. I said, they approve you for $3,100 for a sport card, and come to find out it's only to buy sports-related items. Really? $3,100. But yet they decline you for a MasterCard. I said, what kind of scam is that? So that's why I titled it the way I did. I'm sorry. Maybe some of you might be offended by what I'm saying. I really don't know. That's fine. We all have our own personal opinion. But in my opinion, I think it's pretty scumbaggish. You know what I'm saying? I mean, my credit cards, like I said, 3 of them got balances, 3 of them don't. I always pay a lot more than the minimum balance. Sometimes it's double. Whatever, right? My wife's got 1 card, same thing. We'll pay more than the balance. And that one, believe it or not, is below $500 anyways. All right, no big deal. It's not like I can't afford to pay them. If I couldn't, I wouldn't get them, right? But I just thought that was pretty shitty. Grant you, my wife is still going to get the stuff that she needs. I told her we'll get the rest of the stuff you need. But I said, for now, I'm just irritated. I really, really am. So I thought I'd share that with you. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, share, leave a comment. Good or bad, either way, I don't care. This is America. We're free to our own opinions. Have a great day.